Brilliance Audio presents Come Matter Here, your invitation to be here in a Getting There world by Hannah Brencher. Forward by Jess Connolly. Performed by Hannah Brencher and Janet Metzger.
I spent the last hours of 2013 sitting on the floor of my friend's New York City apartment, surrounded by pictures of tiny copper tea kettles. It had become a tradition for a bunch of friends to gather on the Upper West Side on the afternoon of New Year's Eve and make vision boards for the year ahead. We haul in magazines we've saved throughout the year and spend a few hours reflecting and dreaming up what we hope to make happen in the new year. December 31st has always been my favorite day of the year. I start celebrating early in the morning and let the festivities of a new year drag on until about the middle of March. I think there's something really beautiful about the last day of the year. There's an anticipation hanging in the air, an infectious energy buzzing around because on this day, and sometimes only on this one day out of 365, people genuinely believe they can do better, they can be better. The 2 years before this one, my vision boards were always full of images and words placed strategically to make me want to hustle, move, and shake up the world. There would be multiple suitcases and verbs like run or go spread out across the board. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to do something that matters, but I do think it's dangerous to center all our decisions around being enough for the world. This year, I couldn't stop reaching for the home and living magazines. I couldn't explain why my hands kept grabbing for them or why I kept ripping out pictures of dishes and teacups and chairs and adorable office spaces and white linens. It looks like I'm building a home this year, I announced to my friends around the room, all hunched over their own pieces of poster board. I didn't even think I wanted this. A home seemed out of place in my current lifestyle. I'd made a lot of things happen in the last year. I'd contracted and written a book. I'd traveled around the country giving talks to big audiences. I had pieces of my writing go viral. I was doing everything I thought I was supposed to be doing. This was the stuff the world told me mattered. This was the stuff people always wanted to talk about, how they could climb higher too. Yet the more I did, the more restless I found myself. I kept thinking if I could just fill this growing hole inside me with something greater, then I would feel full. It was always one big then, but never anything I actually arrived at. I was starting to wonder if the hole would ever be filled, or if there was another road I wasn't taking yet towards something totally different, but something completely better. When you only focus on the life you project to the world, you start living half-heartedly. It becomes nearly impossible to be content with the life you have. Instead, you run the rat race of always chasing after that next thing to temporarily fill you or allow you to impress people a little longer. I picked up another magazine and began flipping through the contents. I opened to a 2-page spread with the words Sweet Georgia, May plastered in big white letters across it. Georgia, May. There was another reminder, just like the dozen or so I had gotten in the last few months since I made the decision to move to Georgia that coming May. I was in the process of writing my first book, and I knew it would be completed by May. It was my 3rd year of working for myself. I'd built a steady income doing freelance writing, ghostwriting, and speaking at colleges and conferences. I had nothing tying me to one specific place on the map. For some people, that would be the ultimate adventure. This reality terrified me. I never thought I'd be someone to pick up and move to a new place. Atlanta seems like a really random place to want to move to. In actuality, I became friends with a girl named Erin who lived just outside of Atlanta. We technically met in person once before in New York City, but neither of us could recall it. So I say the first time we really spoke was over the phone after Erin asked if we could connect. We were both young women hustling to make the world better through small businesses, and she expressed how lonely that could sometimes be. I knew the feeling, so I jumped at the chance to talk with her. By the end of the conversation, Erin was inviting me to visit the South for the first time. I don't know if she expected me to take her up on the offer, but I booked the plane ticket the next week and flew into Atlanta a few months later. It was there,